Hello and welcome to the Midday Muster with Danny Young. Today on the show, we are discussing memories of your favourite gigs, and I'm inviting you, the audience, to be my special guests and share your thoughts. I'll also be joined by Rory Phillips playing his new single, The Truth, which he wrote about standing up for action on climate change. My name is Danny Young, and I am your host for today's show. I am a singer, songwriter, I record, I go on tour, but most of all, I'm a big music lover, and that's why I created this show. So, we'd love to hear from you at home on our question of the day. What is your favourite gig that you've been to? Before we touch a bit more on that, let's take a look at what's been happening in country music as we turn to the roundup. Amber Lawrence, Elise Simmons, Kirsty Lee Akers, and Diana Corcoran have officially released their version of True Blue this week. The four artists originally covered the song acoustically as part of the COVID Covers Challenge, and due to popular demand, they hit the studio to record a radio version of the John Williamson classic. The song went to number 1 on iTunes and was featured on Channel 7's Sunrise. US country singer Chase Rice, who performed at the Gympie Music Muster last year, has flouted COVID-19 restrictions by putting on a concert in Nashville for 1,000 people. Despite being highly criticised for not practicing social distancing, the singer doubled down on his decision to hold a crowded event in the middle of a health crisis. He has, however, promised to make his next concert a drive-in. The Hat to Country Festival will kick off in Tamworth this Thursday with 4 nights of live stream concerts. The program will feature live gigs in Tamworth as well as home performances, songwriter rounds, live crosses to Nashville and to Melbourne pub gigs, and will feature performances from Luke O'Shea, Catherine Britt, Casey Barnes and Andrew Swift, amongst many more. And finally, the country journo Beck Gracie has become the Season 1 champion of Celebrity Country Music Quiz. The online trivia match on Friday night saw previous champions Ashley Dallas, Paul Grierson and Neely Rich compete for the overall title, but Beck Gracie, journalist, publicist and artist manager, proved unbeatable. Season 2 will commence on Wednesday of next week. That's it for the roundup. It's time to dive into today's question of the day. What is your favourite gig that you've been to? Leave us a comment on Facebook on the screen and we'll be discussing a bit more about this. So I was thinking about this question, what is my favourite gig that I've been to? And as an artist, that's a very difficult one to answer because I've been in many gigs and I've seen many gigs. And I was just thinking through some of the highlights. Ignore that. Back to story time. Some of the highlights of the gigs that I've seen. I've seen Joe Cocker play in Sydney. I've seen Casey Musgraves play at the Enmore Theatre. Been on stage for the finale concert of the Music Muster. There's been so many amazing concerts that I've been to. I've been on the stage, side stage, at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. But I have to think that my favourite gig that I've been to, and this could change on any given day, but as of today, my favourite gig that I've been to was singing Keith Urban at Tamworth Town Hall. I think it was January of last year at the Tamworth Country Music Festival. Keith Urban decided to come to town and he put on a show at Tamworth Town Hall for only 1,000 people, which is quite different from playing huge stadiums every night, as he normally does. And everyone had to try to get tickets. They sold out within seconds, and I actually missed out when I tried to get tickets. But luckily, on the day, a friend of mine posted on Facebook she had one spare ticket, and I snapped it up, and I got there in the audience, got up really close to Keith Urban, and it was just amazing to see this stadium level performance happening in a small space, seeing someone who's been the CMA Entertainer of the Year really mastered his craft. It was just amazing to watch a real pro work the crowd, pull off every song flawlessly with a really tight band, great lights, great sound. That was something I really will remember forever, being in the very exclusive crowd of people that got to see Keith Urban at the Tamworth Town Hall. So I want to hear from you. What was your favourite gig you've been to? What made it so special? Let us know in the comments. But for now, let's have a look at what some of our audience have to say. So Claire Jones from Victoria said her favourite gig was CMC Rocks up in Queensland last year.
Well, any country music
we do have a clip of Claire telling us about her favourite
music
gig.
Fans know how to have a good time.
There we go.
And CMC Rocks 2019 proved that point more than anything else. The massive storm that rolled in, thunder, lightning, rain, mud, everything wet, soaked through for 4 days straight. Definitely life-changing experience. Have no words to explain it. Hands down, that is the best country music event, gig, festival, anything I've ever been to. And I can't really think of anything that could top it. But who knows? The future's got great things for country music, so let's see.
I hear all about that festival, actually. Quite a few of those Queensland festivals, especially CMC Rocks, do end up very muddy that time of year. You do have to bring gumboots. And I saw some of the pictures of people just sliding through the mud on their bellies at the CMC Rocks Festival. So obviously Claire had a fantastic time at that. I did see a comment pop up. Bob McGann said he saw Johnny Cash. Would have been amazing. That Johnny Cash came on at 8 p.m. and didn't leave the stage till 11:50 p.m. That's nearly 4 solid hours of Johnny Cash in concert. That's pretty amazing to see. All right, so next we have Robert Holmes from Newcastle telling us about his favourite gig at Lizottes.
Good afternoon, Danny. It's Robert Holmes from Newcastle. Just dropping by to let you know my favourite gig was Jason Owen sings John Denver at Lizottes Lambton. It was my favourite gig because I got to help promote the concert, and I also got to see you perform as a support act and got to catch up with you after the gig.
Yes, that was a pretty special gig for me as well. Robert helped us out by putting some posters up around Newcastle to promote the show. I was very lucky to be the support act for Jason Owen on his John Denver tribute show. And yeah, it was Lizottes is an amazing venue, truly amazing. And Robert even sent some flowers backstage to me before the show. So that was a very special gig for me as well. Gail O'Neill says that the roadie reckons the Wolf Brothers side of stage at a Whittlesea CM festival. That would have been pretty good, seeing the Wolf Brothers from side stage. And finally, let's have a listen to what Kayleen Pittaway from Hastings has to say. She said her favourite gig was when 2 of her favourite up-and-coming artists got their big moment to shine.
It happened to be one of Troy Casadale and Friends gigs from Tamworth Country Music Festival a few years ago. Now, Troy had been asking wonderful guest after wonderful guest to come out and sing a song with him, and it came down to the very last song of the concert, and I was sitting in the front row, dead centre on the aisle in Trek, and I probably got the biggest surprise of my life when the 2 particular artists were asked to come out and sing the final song with Troy. I'd known these artists from Melbourne. I'd seen them a number of times, particularly in house concerts, where you get to know the artist a lot better. And Troy calls them out, and they happen to go by the names of Andrew Swift, otherwise known as Swifty, and Greta Zilla. And they're 2 of my favourite artists too. And I took one look at them, and I just burst into tears. And it was completely upset about the whole thing, but that was just pure joy, I was happy for them that they'd got that particular gig, and it was a very important one for them.
Oh, that's so sweet. I can just picture Kayleen in the front row just crying tears of joy as her favourite artists get a big opportunity to sing with Troy Cassar-Daley. That would have been a night to remember for them as well, and for Kayleen. Sam Phillips says she saw the Eagles live from the second row at Hanging Rock in Victoria. That would have been really good. I love the Eagles. I'm guessing, she said 2016, that would have been when Vince Gill came out and sang with them as well. And was it Jewel was their support act? Maybe that was a separate one. But that would have been an amazing concert too. We'll keep leaving us comments, letting us know what your favourite gig has been and what made it so special. Sam was saying there that the concert nearly got abandoned. The Eagles concert nearly got abandoned due to a massive storm. But luckily it went ahead. There's all sorts of stories about wild weather affecting concerts or artists being really late or something crazy happening. But I'd love to hear from you. What's been your favourite one? All right, so we're going to move on to our special guest on today's show. So this is our segment where we invite artists to share the stories behind their new songs and perform them live. Rory Phillips is a 13-year-old artist who's graduated from the CMAA Academy of Country Music and has been playing on festival stages since he was 7. Let's welcome Rory to the Midday Muster.
Give us the truth, don't give us your lies. Don't try to cut us down to your size. People are real, we all feel the pain when you lie to us again and again. Give us the truth, don't give us your lies. Don't try to cut us down to your size. People are real, we all feel the pain when you lie to us again and again. Give us the truth. Give us the truth. Give us the truth.
Welcome to the show, Rory. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, how are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing really well on this beautiful blue day up here in Sydney. What's it like down where you are?
It's probably like a balmy 6, 7, maybe 8 degrees at the moment. I haven't been outside today, so I'm not sure. But either way, it's not very warm.
No, I don't like the cold weather at all, so I'm not very jealous of that. But we just heard a little bit about you in your introduction. You've certainly done a lot of live performing already. You've played with Shane Nicholson, Fanny Lumsden, Catherine Britt, Bill Chambers. How do you fit that all in around school?
I find myself asking the same question. I don't know. I guess it just sort of most of the gigs are on the weekends. I usually have a couple of days off here and there if they're big ones or if we've got to travel. But, you know, I keep a fairly good attendance record. So it all works out okay.
Okay. And do you ever have any trouble getting into the venues being underage?
Not really. It's normally just, you know, I'm with mum or I'm the performer or, you know, there's ways around that.
I see. And so last year you became the youngest member of the Bushwhackers. What was that like?
Oh, that was a very, very great experience. I'm grateful to Roger and Dobe and whoever else happens to be playing at that gig. It's a big revolving cast, the Bushwhackers. But I'm very lucky to be part of that. I'm very, very happy to be able to call myself a bushwhacker. I'm number 103. It's official. So I'm just very proud because they're a big part of Australian history for a lot of people. So.
103. They've obviously had a lot of different people be part of the band. What was your role in the show? Did you get up and play guitar with them or something else?
I play mostly bass. I've played Mando for one show, I think, but that didn't stick around. Got chucked back to bass again, downgraded, upgraded, whichever way you want to look at it. I don't know. Depends on your opinion, really. But it's a fun job. It's not easy, but it's certainly a challenge. But I think that's why I enjoy it. So.
And so let's talk about your new single, The Truth. You've written this about the need for action on climate change. Your family are waste warriors and you're clearly very passionate about climate issues. Do you feel like young people are taken seriously when speaking up?
I think we can be, but more often than not really. And it is a shame because we all have opinions. I think we should all be able to voice them, whether they be good or bad opinions. But, you know, we've got voices too. We should be allowed to be heard. I think that's sort of one of the messages that the song tries to get across. So.
And it sounds like it's a protest song. And were you inspired by, Greta Thunberg and some of the school protests that have been happening around the world?
I think lots of things, really. Greta, school strike for climate, the whole thing with, Black Lives Matter, all of that that's going on now, everything, way that the politicians, political issues rise. I think that's why, it kind of sounds like I'm buying my own truck here, but I think that's why it's such a good song, because its meaning changes and it's sort of applicable to everything that, like, you can always find something that you can relate it back to.
All right, well, I would love to hear this brand new song of yours. Do you reckon you can give us a little live here on the Midday Muster?
I reckon I could manage.
I just happen to have a guitar nearby. Perfect. Yeah, play the whole thing for us.
Yeah. Cool, that'd be good. What's the world gonna be in a year or two? What's it gonna be like for me and you? Will the men in power do what they need to do? What's the world gonna be like in a year or two? Seems like it's lost its mind again, this crazy world that we're living in. We all give up and we all give us your eyes, try to see your sides. People are real, we all feel the pain. Lie to us again and again, give us the truth. 20 years. Will we unite to save it before it all disappears? While the men at the time cry their crocodile tears. What's the world gonna be like in 20 years? Seems like it's lost its mind again, this crazy world that we're living in. We all give up and we all give in. Give us the truth, don't give us your lies. Don't try to cut us down to your size. People are real, we all feel the pain. When you lie to us again and again, give us the truth. Give us the truth.
Oh, perfect. There we go. We had a little internet breakup just as you were finishing the song there. Sorry, my claps were a little delayed. But that was wonderful,
right.
Rory. And I think I love the performance of that too, because I can really hear everything. Like, I can really feel that you mean every word of that song.
Yeah, I think that's the whole idea. It's one thing to write a song and sing a song, but if you're not connecting and it's not, genuine is probably the right word, then I don't think it's really, you shouldn't be singing that if you can't connect to it.
And I really liked that you said you really wanted to write a song that said something, because I do feel there are many songs that are just sort of don't really say anything deep. That can just be a little bit surface level and those songs are fine as well, but it is really nice to hear songs that really have a deep message for their audience. And it's surprising such a deep message from someone so young, but clearly you really care about this topic and it's something you believe in. So where did this come from for you? Is it part of your family upbringing that you really care about climate change?
I think, not so much upbringing. We've always been pretty political, I guess. I've sort of gotten a rough grasp of what politics was from a youngish age, probably, 8 or 9 maybe. I think it's something important that people need to learn about, especially in a country where you have to vote. But I think in some ways even more so in countries like America where you don't have to, but you should be. But you got to understand what the policies are and whether you're going to support that person or not in in what they're trying to do. So you got to sort of be aware of that sort of stuff, I think.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, what is your favourite gig that you've been to?
I thought you might ask this. I had to think about this. I've been to a few. I think probably my favourite small gigs, which I've been to or played at, would have to be. I can only give top 3 because I can't narrow it down to any more than that. But it would have to be probably playing with the Bushwhackers, playing with Shane Nicholson, and probably Bill and Catherine's gig was very, very good as well. That was my first big gig, I guess. And then gigs that I've been to, like big stadium gigs. I really enjoyed the Eagles. That was probably my all-time favourite if I had to pick one by a very small margin. I love the Foo Fighters as well. And probably Prince was very good. And a special mention to
You
John
saw
Mayer.
Prince.
There too. I did see Prince. Saw him at the Opera House. I was very lucky. It was like a month before he died too, so it was we just got
Wow.
in there. So glad I did. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been a very special performance. It's always like I saw Joe Cocker maybe a year before he passed away, and it just was like, wow, I'm so glad I got to see them before it was too late. I got to see them live in person.
Yeah.
And you must have that same memory with Prince that you're like, I got to see him live. I wish I'd got to see the Beatles live. I am the biggest Beatles fan. Fortunately, born too late.
Yeah. There's so many of those bands where I go, oh man, I wish I saw them. I really do. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, well. We've got the DVDs at least.
Yeah.
All right, well,
then,
thank you so much, Rory, for joining us today on the Midday Muster. All the best with your new song, and I hope it keeps going up the charts for you, and that everyone goes and checks out the awesome music video as well over on your Facebook page.
Please do. We're up to just a little bit over 30K now, I think. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Ooh.
Yeah, Fan and Dan did a great job. Fanny Lumsden, Dan Stanley Freeman. I should probably also give a special mention just before I go to Roger Corbett, who produced it, and James Church, who played Montgomery Church. I don't often get a chance to mention them, but they certainly deserve a mention because without those four people, that wouldn't have happened. Same thing with Mum. She's another one that wouldn't have happened without her. So there's four there who, you know, if not, I don't think this song would be out, or even if it was, it would not be nearly as good as it is. I wouldn't be nearly as proud of it.
Oh, well, that's lovely to hear. And thanks so much for joining us today. And we'll talk to you again soon. See you, Rory.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, well, that's all we have for the Midday Muster today. Make sure you keep leaving us some comments with your answer to our question of the day. What was your favourite gig that you have been to? I've seen some very interesting answers in the comment. I can't wait to go through and read all of them and imagine these gigs. Brendan says it was one night only, Ladies of Country at Tamworth Festival last year. Tanya Kernigan, Gina Jeffries. Oh, I missed those last two names, but I think it was Lynn Botel and someone else there. That would have been an amazing concert. Tamworth Country Music Festival is the place where you get lots of those amazing concerts because you've got all these artists in one place. So collaborations are happening. I saw someone wrote in the comments that Adam Harvey and Troy's Country Songbook was their favourite. Mark Edson says that is the hardest question anyone could ask, but probably Live and Loud at Tamworth in January. That's one of those free concerts at Bicentennial Park during the Tamworth Country Music Festival. Well, that was a great gig. Well, thanks everyone for watching today. Thanks for spending your lunch break with me here on the Midday Muster. Thank you to our guest Rory Phillips joining us today and performing his new song, The Truth. And thanks to InView TV and Bruce Mott for producing today's episode. My name is Danny Young, and I'll see you next time on the Midday Muster.
It's all about